exciting as the beginning of the show was, the ending was very underwhelming to the fact where I don't think we need even a minute to kick into gear cam. So let's just do it.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. What is up, everybody? Welcome to a special Start Time special edition of the Table Spot. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here, as always, with the man with the best beard in the business, the host of the Boom every Wednesday night here on Rivet City Radio, switching off the Top Media's YouTube channel, Mr. Cam G. Cam, how you doing on this wonderful Monday afternoon?
Well, like I said, the sun's still up, so that feels weird.
Yeah.
But I'm not complaining. Like I said, we have spent many late nights here on Table Spot, not getting off until 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not complaining. I really am not. But like I said, pretty decent Raw. Like I said, that Belgium crowd was red hot. So I can't complain about that either. So I'm here. I'm ready to get into Monday Night Raw.
I mean, after the watch along, I know I said, hey, we're going to take a minute or two to kind of get ourselves together here and everything like that. But I'm going to say this right now, that as hot as this show started off, the ending was very underwhelming. I mean, and that was the whole purpose of taking that minute or two. It's like, okay, I'm expecting this match, this Intercontinental Championship match, this championship that Gunther helped for the past 2.5 years before this title ended up on a Braun Breaker or a Jey Uso or a Sami Zayn, the past couple Intercontinental champions, that he made this championship relevant and exciting to see. Ever since then, has there really been too many exciting Intercontinental title matches? And can you really add this one onto the list? No. I don't know about you, but I don't.
I mean, it was a decent match for what it was. I mean, it was short, sweet, to the point. But I again, like I said, with Finn Balor right now, the bigger story here is, like I said, the Judgment Day crumbling right before our very eyes. So I think that's more important right now. Personally, like I said, I love Braun Breaker right now as champion. I just think he's very exciting. He's on a dominant run right now. Is it to the caliber of a Gunther? Is he putting on the same caliber of matches as Gunther? No, but that's because he's a different style wrestler than Gunther was, though. Yeah. So it's kind of almost an impossible task to really compare the two reigns, just because I said the run that Gunther was really on and the prestige that Gunther really put on that championship, as opposed to Braun Breaker. But I guess right now I like him as champion, as well as I like Gunther as World Heavyweight Champion right now as well. So but yeah, I agree with you. It's like this match started to pick up and then it just kind of ended. And I feel like they got to where they wanted to get to with this match a little too soon. This match could have gone on, another maybe 10 minutes, with some more, near falls, some more exciting things that could produce. So I definitely understand your gripe about that. Like I said, who knows where they're going with Mania? We're still 30 plus days out from Mania, so who knows? Like I said, in the way that it ended, I think the way that it ended, I think was worth maybe the underwhelming match itself, because like I said, I mean, Braun Breaker versus Penta, if that's the route they're going to go for Mania, hey, I have no problems with that.
Well, let's get into it. Monday Night Raw taking place out in Belgium tonight. And as I always ask Cam, what would you grade Monday Night Raw out in Belgium this afternoon?
Like I said, until the ending, I would have said, probably before that, I probably would have said an A+, just from the opening alone with the John Cena promo. After the main event Intercontinental Championship match, I'm gonna give it a B+. It was a solid show, high energy from start to finish for the most part. Good show.
I mean, I would definitely say up until the Seth Rollins promo, I'd be with you on the A+ thing. I would. Great start. great things going on up until we got to that Seth Rollins promo, and then it just kind of felt like the show said, okay, we're on our last half hour. Let's start calming down a little bit. It's like you have a very hot crowd. This crowd, number one, was super hot this afternoon. What's up, Will? Thank you for joining us today here on the table. Today on the table spot. Not tonight, today, because it's still daytime. It is still sunny out. The sun's still out. Well, it's not sunny here because they want rain here, Cam. It rained last night. You know, figure they rain. We're doing good. Just got done watching Raw. So thanks, Hal. But I'm with you. Up until that Seth Rollins promo, I would have given it an A+. But then it just seemed like things started calming down. It was a super hot crowd all night, in their time all night, in our time afternoon. But then up until that point, it was just kind of like, okay, let's kind of start calming things down a little bit. And even with the title match, it was just very underwhelming. Not to take anything away from those guys. They worked hard in the ring. As always, got to say that these guys and girls work hard in the ring. But it wasn't the match that I, as a fan, was expecting. It wasn't. I'm with you. I would give it a B+ after the Seth Rollins promo. That they went down to a B+ once we hit that point. So, they peaked too soon. You mean the first? I mean, the first segment was just amazing. That's what we're going to start talking about right away, because we had John Cena open the show today, and he had a few choice words to say. But the one thing that I really pulled from this promo to bring up, Cam, is that he said that for the past 25 years, he went on and just kept winning and giving. But he felt like, in our eyes, it wasn't enough, because we would go into stadiums and arenas and cheer and boo. And he has people who were supporting him, and he had people that didn't like him. And he finally said that my relationship with the fans, it's over. I'm breaking up with you. I texted my cousin, and I told you about my cousin. My cousin, huge John Cena fan, buys pretty much everything John Cena merch that he can get his hands on. And I literally texted him during the watch along, and I said, you just got broken up with. Are you okay? How are you feeling? And he said, I'm fine. I'm still going to cheer him. And I'm like, okay. Okay. But before we talk about Cody Rhodes coming out, what did you pull from the Cena promo that caught your eye and ear? Like, what'd you get from it?
I mean, honestly, like I said, I was really, really laser focused on what he had to say, because I've been waiting for this for a while.
Yeah.
Since the turn. Most of it just sounded like he was like on the brink of tears. Like most of it sounded like he was kind of complaining or whatever. So I was just like, I don't know if I can get used to that side of Cena or whatever, if that's kind of the route they're going to go with his heel turn.
Yeah.
But the one thing I really liked was when he was saying to the crowd, like, you know, your time is up, my time is now. Like that, I liked it, and I liked the delivery in his voice, and it just sounded like he was just focused and just done and pissed off, and that was what I really, really enjoyed out of this entire segment. And like I said, of course, I got to talk about the crowd. I mean, this was literally the equivalent to when Roman beat Undertaker and came out on Raw after Mania. This was the equivalent to that.
Yeah.
You know, he was just being showered with booze and showered with explicitives and things of that nature, you know, live on Netflix. So I loved everything about that. So he really didn't have to, if you ask me, I think he could have just said less, because the crowd really carried the segment for the most of it. Like I said, one of the things, if I may skip ahead a little bit,
go ahead.
but Cody Rhodes coming out, you know, cutting him off in the middle of that segment, I've never heard a louder reaction for Cody Rhodes ever.
Oh, that was huge.
Like the first couple of notes of his theme, like they didn't even let the wrestling has more than one royal family. It was just doom, and the whole crowd just exploded.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard anything like that. They drowned out his theme song. It was crazy. So I love that. I love what Cody had to say. I love Cody cutting off Cena. Like him being more the aggressor in this storyline is something, again, that you don't see from Cody Rhodes.
No.
He has so many layers just as being a babyface, I don't think he needs a heel turn because he can be the babyface. He can come out high five and kissing babies, but he can also get serious without having to go to the dark side completely. So I love that he has so many different layers to this run that he's on right now. So great segment to open Raw tonight.
Alan Chat says that the Cena sucks chants were amazing. Will says that couldn't even hear the words and the lyrics from Cody's song because of how loud it was. Yeah, you couldn't. I mean, like you said, from that first drum drop of Cody's thing before the words even happened at the beginning of the song, the crowd was nuts. It was loud. You had to turn the volume up on your Netflix and your television or computer, wherever you were watching, to actually hear the theme song. You had to. I turned it up. I did. But yeah, I mean, the Cena using his own monikers, you know, your time is up, my time is now. It's great that he could still use those in different meaning. It's just a general generic saying that can be used anywhere for him, whether he's a babyface, whether he's a heel, whether he's just John Cena, he can use them, you know. And he also referenced the whole fact of us using the whole "you can't see me" joke and everything like that. Like, yep. He was very emotional. I mean, at first you can kind of see him trying not to smile when the whole "we love Cena, Cena sucks" chants were happening. And I even said it, you know, his cheekbones are hurting from trying not to smile. But then once he got into the promo, he was locked in. And you couldn't tell whether he was being serious or whether it was just him being John Cena, the professional wrestler. The John Cena professional wrestler coming out to cut a promo. You couldn't tell the difference. Cody coming out and saying what he said. Like, I want to see John Cena, the guy on that shirt right there saluting. That's the John Cena I want at WrestleMania, not this whiny little bitch. For him to call Cena a whiny little bitch, and then fast forward, Michael Cole on commentary calling John Cena a prick. I'm like, Cole, like, touche, sir. Like, for some reason, next week, when they're in Italy, and we're here on the watch long at 4 p.m., because we will be here, watch long, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and John Cena and Cody Rhodes will be in the house again. I kind of want to see Michael Cole involved. I want to see John Cena come out and confront Michael Cole for calling him a prick. I do.
That would be interesting.
I think it would be a little bit.
Yeah.
Get him involved. And then if Pat McAfee isn't there and then Corey Graves is there, one of them stand up for Cole, kind of like get in Cena's face, like tell him, like, oh, stand back, sir. Like, don't do that. Will says, doom, crowd still loud, the mic distorted 10 seconds later. Whoa, yeah, it was nuts. That crowd was alive tonight. It was. I felt so bad for them when we got to the Seth Rollins promo because you could tell they were kind of just starting to make the show go like this. Just to kind of bring it down a notch. Like, it's almost like going to, like, if you go to a concert and the crowd gets so nuts, people start passing out. That it's like, you know, the band or whatever, the performers stop the show to kind of say, like, hey, let's help these people out. Let's give it a breather, and then we'll get back into doing what we're doing. It's almost like that's what WWE is saying. Like, okay, we got to kind of calm down because people are getting so nuts out here. People are passing out. Let's calm it down a little bit, you know. But John Cena and Cody Rhodes will be in the house next week in Italy, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, start time, and we will be here for the watch long, followed by the table spot. And I'm excited to see what they bring next week. I said it that I didn't think that was the only time we were going to see them today, but I'm even more excited to the fact that we're going to see them next week. Why? Because they'll have more time. If we would have gotten more John Cena and Cody Rhodes after that, I don't think it would have been as effective. Like a backstage thing, I don't think it would have been as effective. For them to save it and say, hey, next week, they're going to be in the house again. So let's see what happens next week. The other thing that I pulled from this, though, too, is John Cena did the one thing that throughout the whole week, throughout these past 2 weeks since the turn, and you've seen it, Cam, you scroll through the internet, you see it in the IWC and everything, of people saying, you know, you kind of want to see John Cena, you know, say things about kids and like go and like the kids and everything. He attacked a kid verbally that was sitting in the front row. He did it. Like, that caught me. Literally, like, I didn't think he was going to do it, but he literally, as pointing out the crowd, saying, you know, you buy my merch and do this, you buy my merch and do this, you buy my merch and do this, and especially you. And he pointed right at a young kid, a young fan. And the kid looked like he was ready to cry. Literally ready to shed tears. I don't know whether to be happy that he did this or be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I didn't know what to do. I was left speechless. So if you have any thoughts on that aspect of it, by all means.
Like I said, I can appreciate the fact that they're really digging their heels into this. Like they're not holding any punches. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of already knew that when, you know, they were showing the reactions of when he first turned heel, and they also showed the reactions of like kids too, you know, and that was surprising. You even go back to the night of Elimination Chamber before his turn.
Yeah.
And he was meeting with like I think it was like Make-A-Wish people, and he's telling them, oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna win for you. It's like that. And I'm just like, oh my god, that makes what he did so much worse.
So much worse, but so much more special.
Yes.
For what we're gonna get at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes, John Cena for the WWE Championship. Main event of night number 2 of WrestleMania, Sunday, April 20th. So I pointed this out during the watch along tonight, Cam. Sunday, April 20th is night number 2 of WrestleMania. It is also a holiday.
Oh my god.
Yes. It's also a holiday. It is. It's Easter. Not only that, it's 420.
That's what I thought you were going to say the first time.
It's 420. It's 420. I was getting there. I was getting to the peak of what I was going to say. It's 420. Okay. So WrestleMania Sunday is going to be a very emotional day for a lot of people.
A lot going on.
There's going to be a lot going on. A lot going on. But next week, man, we'll have to see what happens out in Italy between these two. I'm excited again. I thought we were going to get more. I'm glad we did. Now at this point, I'm glad we didn't. I'm so excited to come back here next Monday afternoon and sit down and watch Monday Night Raw with you and everybody in the chat and see what happens. I am. Monday night. And I always say this, Cam, that AEW Dynamite is my favorite show of the week. I love AEW Dynamite. I love coming on the boom and talking AEW Dynamite afterwards with you and Phil. Monday Night Raw is really starting to kind of sneak up a little bit and starting to take the number 1 spot. It really is. And it's been a long time coming because Monday Night Raw, as we know, those 3-hour nights, they were rough. Like you said at the top of the show, we'd go and start watching Monday Night Raw at 8 p.m. It ends at 10 p.m. And then we're on the air at 11:30 until almost 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, and ever since the holidays, we've kind of restructured ourselves a little bit. Now we're here for about 60 to 90 minutes. We kind of, you know, calmed ourselves down a little bit. And it's more so of like, we're giving you less, but less is more.
Yeah.
Bring you back to the table spot the next week. So, and that also gives us time to kind of recharge our batteries. And, you know, if we go 2 hours, we go 2 hours. It all depends on the conversation.
Yeah.
We got 2 hours that we can run, but you know, we also need to recharge our batteries and kind of rest up and relax a little bit too. So, but we do appreciate everybody that comes in. Just to remind everybody, Rivet City Radio, Off Top Media, Twitch, YouTube. Make sure you're following, make sure you're subscribing and checking out everything that's going on throughout the network. Not only throughout the week on the lives, but as well as the back catalog of stuff that is over on the YouTube channels. We got interviews done by the Will Gray. We got Spotlight with Shadow over on the Off Top Media YouTube channel. And we got so much more. So go and check out everything, not only in the back catalogs, but all the lives that happen throughout the week here on Rivet City Radio and Off the Top Media YouTube channel and Twitch. Appreciate everybody that stops by and joins us for these shows and interacts with us. Definitely appreciate it. Penta took on Kaiser, Ludwig Kaiser tonight today in a no holds barred match. Not a bad match. Penta ends up getting the win. But one thing that kind of left me a little questionable was Kaiser still comes out to the Imperium theme. We never got a true breakup between him and Gunther. So, number one, I'm going to get your thoughts on the match. But number two, do you think maybe somewhere down the road we get a Gunther and Kaiser reuniting and bringing back Imperium at some point?
I mean, I think probably maybe 15, maybe 10 days out from Mania. I do see Ludwig somehow being brought back into the fold with Gunther. And I honestly don't, I really don't see them having much of a problem or a breakup necessarily until probably Mania. I think Ludwig comes out, tries to help out Gunther, and he could be the difference factor as to why Gunther loses, because I still think Jey Uso's walking out world heavyweight champion. Could be the difference factor as to why Gunther loses the championship. And I think from there we get a proper breakup. And then I think we will truly see a Ludwig Kaiser solo run. And he'll get his own theme song and things of that nature and really kind of shed the Imperium-esque gimmick away from him.
Okay. And you have any thoughts on the match between him and Penta? No holds barred.
The match itself, not much to say there. It was a typical, no holds barred match that WWE usually produces. Kind of short, I would say. But like I said, it really just served its purpose of once again putting over Penta, who has been doing nothing but fantastic things in the WWE thus far. Afterwards, he states that he wants the Intercontinental Championship, which, like I said again, based off how the ending of Raw ended today. I could easily see it being, Braun Breaker. I know we've discussed a multi-man ladder match, but if they don't do that, I could easily see it being, Braun Breaker and Penta, which, like I said, I think that would be a fantastic match as well. So, like I said, he's on a hot streak right now, and I don't think he can do any wrong right now. So, good match.
Well, let's fast forward real quick because we were here for the watch long for the main event. So, I mean, we kind of gave our thoughts on the main event already. So let's fast forward to that. Penta did challenge for the Intercontinental Championship after this match in a backstage segment with Kathy Kelly. And that's what I thought is maybe we'll get that 6-man ladder match with, Penta, Ludwig, Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, and, a 6-man ladder match. The picture we brought up about a week or two ago. Okay. It seems like they're kind of shifting gears a little bit because you have Penta now challenging for the IC title in a singles match. Finn Balor challenged for the Intercontinental title today. Now he's kind of out of the picture, but it seems like Dom is kind of focusing on that as well as being focused on what's going on with him and Finn Balor in the Judgment Day. So seeing Penta and Braun Breaker, I think would benefit them more as a one-on-one match than to give us a 6-man ladder match at this point. I think so. Because Penta beat Ludwig already. Braun Breaker's beaten Ludwig already. They've both beaten Finn Balor already, I think. I don't know if Penta ever faced Finn Balor. I don't think he did yet. But anyways, it just seems like all roads are leading to just Penta and Braun Breaker. And I would not be upset to the fact of them having a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. I wouldn't. If they give us a 6-man ladder match, then that's just an extra treat. It is. It's an extra treat. But Penta and Braun Breaker one-on-one. The funny thing is, though, is when Penta first came into WWE 2 months ago, we literally sat here and said that they don't have to have Penta around the championship for a while. He's 2 months in, and he's around the Intercontinental title already. So I guess my question would be is, if they decide to put the Intercontinental title on Penta, at some point he's got to lose it. Do you feel like he's the next one to have a nice, lengthy Intercontinental title run? Or do you think that, the time that they have him lose the Intercontinental title would be a perfect time of having him lose it? Because you got to remember, he has not eaten an L yet. He hasn't been pinned.
It's true.
He's been in matches where there was a loss involved, like a tag match, but was never pinned. So, your thoughts?
I mean, based off the way they're booking him right now, if he were to win Intercontinental Championship, he's probably not losing it for a while. Honestly, and I think that's just the respect they would give to Penta, and I think that's the trust they have in Penta right now to have a lengthy run such as that. And even tonight, I didn't even mention this about tonight's match or today's match. In the no holds barred, I think this was one of Penta's mini tests. I think that they're putting him through. Okay, we know you have this connection with the crowd, which is fantastic. We know you get this massive reaction. We know that you can work a regular match. Let's see what you can. Let's really put the pressure on you. Let's see if you can work, different stipulation types of matches. Let's see what your strengths and weaknesses really are. So they're really testing Penta even still. And as the newness of him being on a part of the roster starts to wear off, they're still going to put him through test just to see how he works and how he's able to work with the WWE roster and the WWE style. But I think they would have enough trust in him to give him a solid, 6-7 month run, maybe, towards the end of 2025, if they were to decide to put the championship on him at Mania.
See, and people would probably question you on like, what do you mean by that? Testing him, like he's been in this business for so many years, he's been through all these matches, yada yada yada. You need to remember, WWE, in some small aspects, have their own ways of doing certain matches. You know, and you could see the differences when you watch AEW opposed to WWE or TNA opposed to WWE. You could see how they do their matches slightly different. There's not a big difference, but it's slightly different. And that's the test is, can you run a WWE style no holds barred match? Can you run a WWE style steel cage match, Money in the Bank match, ladder match, whatever? And it's still a little bit of a different style on the way that they run things. And every company does it. So it's not a slight on WWE and it's not a slight on Penta. It's just the fact of they need to make sure that he can do a WWE style said match. And that's that. So that makes sense. Enough of these long title reigns. I want short title reigns with quick title changes. I mean,
define short title reigns.
So probably saying like 2-3 months, 4 months at that. Nothing too long. You know, and I get that. Because here's the thing is, Cam, you go back to like the 70s, the 80s, even the early 90s, you had guys who held championships for years. Not months, not days, not weeks, years. You know, you had Bruno Sammartino held the championship a combined 11 years. You know, Hogan held it for a combined 6 years. You've had champions who'd held titles for a long time. Roman Reigns, as of recent, 3.5 years. At times, that can get repetitive. It can get tiring to seeing the same guy hold the same championship for a long period of time. It can be. You want to see newer superstars holding the titles, and you want to see a different champion every so often. What WWE, I think, is doing now, and again, this is just what I'm seeing as far as sitting back and noticing the long title reigns is, and everybody can say to me, "Oh, Mike, we already know this." I know you guys know this. I'm just saying this is what I think they're doing. It's all about the story that they run and whether that story needs a championship involved or not. Roman Reigns' story definitely involved a championship. It did. I mean, could you have done the Roman Reigns storyline as the head of the table, as the tribal chief, without the championship? You probably could have. But how far could you have taken it as far as they have without the championship? You know what I mean? Could they have taken it that far? Every title lately has been longer reigns. Gunther, the IC champion, 666 days. Now his world heavyweight title is over 300, I believe. Cody is almost a year. Well, Cody's going to be a year for WrestleMania. Hate to break it. Okay, that's your comment. Sorry. Actually, Gunther just won it at SummerSlam, so it's been less than 300 days. It's been way less than 300 days. He's only in like the 200-day mark. So August, once he hits all like end of July, beginning of July, actually will be the start of 300 days.
Yeah.
So Gunther hasn't even hit. I believe he's only in the 200 mark right now, but it's still the point. Like 200 days, that's long champion. I could see like Roman Reigns' reign. His was interesting to a point because it was like, who's going to go out and beat him? Can this person go beat him? Can that person beat him? I think this person can beat him because of this and that. It was kind of exciting to kind of guess, you know, if that person said can beat him. With a Gunther world title reign, his world title reign has not been that exciting. It hasn't. Why? Because it's been a lot of cleanup work. The beginning of his reign has been a lot of cleanup work, you know, with Randy, with the King of the Ring. Shoulder wasn't down. Okay, let's clean that up and have a world title match. Sami Zayn. Sami beat him at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. Let's clean that up and have Gunther beat him in a world title match. You know, so it's kind of like the cleanup work. Now he's at the point where there's no cleanup work. It's all done. Now he can go out and face challengers. But you're also at the point of Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. You have Jey Uso challenging him. And so far, this story between him and Jey has been a little underwhelming in my eyes. I don't know about you, but I think it's been a little underwhelming because all we've been seeing is Jey goes out and has a match, and then he gets attacked and choked out. That's all we've been seeing. and then they have a few words with each other. That's it. There's been no real big story build to it. If I'm missing something, Cam, by all means, please tell me. Or am I right on this?
There's nothing to miss. You're right on the money with this one. It's really just been rinse and repeat, pretty much the same thing over and over every single Monday Night Raw, and we got that again tonight. We got again skipping ahead a little bit here, but JSO and Austin Theory. Like I said, I hear the bell ring, and then it's just spear 1 2 3. The bell rings again.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the match, and then of course after the match, who does he get attacked by? Of course, the reigning world heavyweight champion Gunther. That's pretty much where Gunther is being used at for this particular at this particular point in this storyline. He just comes out and attacks Jay week after week. Now this week was slightly different because Jay did get a small flurry of offense in, but still it's the same thing every week with these two. So it's not really much progression or much else really being built for the storyline. It's like I said, this match just needs to happen already.
Yeah. And again, in the chat, I could see where you being sick and tired of seeing long world title reigns. I mean, you go over to AEW, Jon Moxley with that world title. Like, what is the point of what they're doing right now with him? There's none. It's getting tiring. It's time to get the title off of him and start moving forward with it. I can see it, and I can respect the fact that you're getting sick of world title reigns or title reigns in general being lengthy because some of them are just not making sense. They're not. Some of the stories that don't have championships connected to them are making a lot more sense than championship storylines. They are. They are. I mean, you're most, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Cam. I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to get slighted for saying this, but the most interesting championship storyline that has happened in recent weeks is Mariah May and Toni Storm.
Yeah.
That's probably the most exciting storyline involved with the championship as of recent weeks.
Yeah.
Other than that, all the other championships has kind of been, Now, is the Bianca, Rhea, and Io Sky one starting to heat up a little bit? Yeah, and I want to see where they go with this moving forward because of after what we've seen with the contract signing today. But as of right now, that was the most exciting storyline involving a championship in recent weeks. So, but speaking of the contract signing, we get Io Sky, Bianca Belair in the ring. They signed their contract, had a few choice words for each other. Rhea Ripley comes out. She takes both of them out. Power bombs. This was what really, I felt this pain. She power bombs Io Sky onto Bianca Belair on a table that did not break.
Yes.
There was no give. That had to hurt. Then Rhea takes the contract. She signs it for herself. Then we get backstage, and Adam Pearce is telling Rhea, give me the contract. Like, she took the contract and walked away with it. And Rhea says, add me into the match. Make the match. Make it a triple threat. We then said Bianca come back and Io come back. They start attacking each other, and they split everything up. Now, last week, I pointed this out, Cam. Io Sky, she pushed both women, pointed at both of them, pointed at the WrestleMania sign. I mean, Adam Pearce, do you agree with me or not? Adam Pearce just needs to make this match happen.
Yes, I don't know. Stop fighting it. Just make it a triple threat. Like, Rhea's already signed the contract. It's pretty much official. I think regardless of what he says, it's already been made official at this point.
Yeah. I like the fact that Rhea Ripley is getting involved in this. And I said it to you during the watch along that whether they do Io Sky versus Bianca, Io Sky versus Rhea, Rhea versus Bianca, whatever the mix-up is, even if it's a triple threat match, they could end up making this match one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting match of WrestleMania. I mean, Rhea and Charlotte did it 2 years ago out at 39. That was the best match on WrestleMania. Next to Cody and Roman, that was the best match on WrestleMania. Literally a show stealer. And these three women have the capability to do so. They have the capability to go out and steal the show. But I have a personal gripe. I'm getting sick of the Bianca Belair EST thing. I am. I'm getting sick of it. I'm tired of it. She needs to change her gimmick. Because she says the same thing over and over again. And I'm tired of it. I'm the bestest, the greatest, the this, and this EST thing. I'm done with it. I am. I mean, I'm so tired of it.
I mean, that's understandable.
I'm sick of it. I am. I'm done with it. Like, I kind of, if this match becomes a triple threat match, I want Rhea and Io to just take her out and it just become down to Rhea and Io. I do. And I'm still baffled to the fact that she's involved in this match because she's involved in another storyline.
Yep.
What sense does that make?
None.
We sat here, Cam, 3 weeks ago and made our predictions on what matches are going to be made at WrestleMania. And I said Bianca being like a special enforcer for Naomi and Jade, or Jade taking on Bianca. And here she is in the fucking Women's World Championship match. I'm tired of it. I am. Will says he wants to see 4 to 5 changes in a year. That's all makes sense. Shake it up, make us uneasy again.
4 to 5 is a lot.
Can you give us at least one of those changes, Will? Maybe we can discuss it. Give us a discussion.
Have we ever even had 4 or 5 changes in WWE in terms of titles? I don't think so.
We've had in a year. Yeah, there's been 4 or 5 title changes in a year.
Excluding the hardcore title 24/7 stuff.
So go back to Survivor Series 2002, and it's the only event that had more than 4 championships on it, and every title changed. Survivor Series 2002, every championship changed on the show. The Women's World, the Undisputed WWE Championship, the World Championship. Well, the WWE Championship, because Brock lost to the Big Show. Shawn Michaels won the world title because Jericho wasn't defending champion. Triple H, I believe, was the defending champion at that time. But Shawn Michaels won the first ever Elimination Chamber. So that's 2. So Women's World Championship, the WWE Championship, Brock lost to Big Show. The world title changed. The tag team titles changed. And I think the Cruiserweight Championship changed. 5 championships changed that night. So we did have 5 in one night. Wahoo Flair changed the Mid-Atlantic title like 6 times in a year. So you're talking about having a championship change hands 4 to 5 times in 1 year. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's a lot. I personally don't see them doing that, but
because I'm trying to think if that has ever happened. A good few 2 or 3 people. I think we have back in 2017, 16 or 17. I think it was 2016. When we had that feud between Charlotte and Sasha, they kept flip-flopping the title.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They switched that title 3 or 4 times within like 2 months.
Yeah.
Because Sasha, what happened was Charlotte won it at a pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. Sasha won it on Raw. Then Charlotte won it like 2 weeks later. Yep. And then Sasha won it again. Like they flip-flopped the titles back and forth a lot. The Hardys, Dudleys, and Edge and Christian, they flip-flopped the tag titles a couple times. So, but as of recent, Charlotte and Sasha, they flip-flopped the women's championship a couple times. So
if I may comment on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, here's what I would want. Okay. No, Will says 4 to 5 change, which again, like that's a lot. But for me, I would say I want them to implement more the because it's funny because I was just watching the newest episode of Rivals between Rock and Mick Foley. And the thing I would want them to implement more of is like the Mick Foley rule, where it's like you put the underdog in some big championship match and nobody expects them to win it.
And the night that WCW, Tony Schiavone ruined it, said like, oh, don't switch over to the other guys. Mick Foley wins the world title.
Yeah, there's that. But I mean, like having the unexpected underdog, in a position, end up winning the championship when nobody expects them to win it.
Okay.
To give people that surprise. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would want to do. Like they should do that more often. Just because, like I said, it shakes things up. Like I said, Io recently beating Rhea Ripley. Like no one expected Io to win that match. So
yeah, but is Io really considered? Let's close this out because we don't have anything else to talk about with Raw. Raw coming from Belgium. Yeah, on 3/17/2025 is in the afternoon. We'll be back for a watch along 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week when they're in Italy. Let's close out the Raw talk and let's talk general a little bit. Would you consider Io Sky an underdog though? Because she's a pretty well-known, well-loved wrestler, and she's been world champion before, and she's been in pretty big positions in WWE. And then you go down to NXT, and she won the NXT women's title. She's been in big matches in NXT. You know, outside of WWE, she's been in big match situations. So would you consider her an underdog?
In the past, yeah, she's had massive successes, which in turn, to your point, I guess, okay, it doesn't make her the underdog. But in this particular match, I would say it did. Just for that particular match, just because, like I said, no one expected Io to win. It was just a shock. You know what I mean?
Because of how dominant Rhea is.
Yeah, exactly.
How dominant Rhea
like everyone's like, okay, we know this is just a match just to have a title defense for Rhea. Like we all expect Rhea, it being Rhea and Bianca. Like I don't think anybody really expected Io to win the title. So that's what I mean. So I feel like they definitely should shake it up more and have people win championships and such and things of that nature, who you don't expect to win. You know what I mean? Like they could have did that today with Braun and Finn, and had Finn walk out Intercontinental Champion. That would have shocked everybody.
So you're looking more for the shock factor than more of the underdog factor.
Yeah,
you're looking more of the shock factor. Like, for example, we didn't expect Io Sky to win two weeks ago on Raw for the women's world title. She did. It shocked the hell out of us. Finn Balor tonight, if he would have won the Intercontinental title, would have definitely been a shock because we realistically didn't see that coming. Next week, the women's Intercontinental title's on the line. Could they shock us there and take it off of Lyra Valkyria? I get it. You're looking more for the shock factor than the underdog factor, but the challenger is kind of the underdog because they're not expected to win.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. I can be down for that. Give us a little more of the shock, because the return, like when we get returns or we get somebody that makes their debut, it's cool, but only for like a week. We're still talking about the shock of Io Sky winning the women's world title, and she's been champion for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a continuing talk until we get to WrestleMania. I think it's going to be a continuing talk until we get up to WrestleMania, because it's now the question lies, does she successfully defend? Or was this just a transition to get the belt off of Rhea and put it on Bianca or Rhea? Because Rhea's going to be in the match. That's given. That's going to happen. And that's why I say Bianca or Rhea. So I get it. And I could be down for it. But I would want to see what type of story they would build to make it make sense. Like, it's got to make sense at the same time with a story. Like Io Sky winning the women's world title, it makes sense for the story because her and Rhea, they went how many years without facing? And now they finally faced, and Io Sky came out and won the women's world title. That was a little bit of a story built up to it.
Yeah.
Have a little bit of a story built into the shock factor. Don't just shock us just because it won't last as long as it should.
Absolutely. And that's what said, and that's why I'm saying like 45 changes is kind of a lot. And the last thing I want them to do is start hot potatoing championships. I hate that so much. Like, so like, again, I get it. You want title changes. You want things to keep, feel fresh, and you want to keep things fresh. I can understand that. You want things to be shaken up. I get that. But at the same time, I feel like there's some people who I feel like, again, can provide that shock factor. And then there's other people that I feel like, have been either held back or just, completely kept off shows. I mean, to name a few, Pete Dunne, Karrion Kross, people of that nature who I think have earned lengthy title runs, have kind of earned those lengthy title runs.
Damian Priest.
Exactly. So
I got a way that they can do this. Have one world champion, have one women's world champion, have all your mid-card titles, have one tag team championship, and don't have 2 fucking championships everywhere, and you can shock us a little more. Yeah, I'm back on that.
Fair.
I am. Because you can shock us a little more. It's my opinion. I just don't say it as much anymore because I know people are sick of hearing me say it. But now I'm bringing it up because this was brought up. So, Cam, WWE Hall of Fame. We got a couple people who are being inducted. Triple H, Michelle McCool, Lex Luger are the three announced. Now, there is rumor, and apparently there's confirmation that the natural disasters, you remember the natural disasters back from the early 90s?
Yes.
Typhoon and earthquake.
Yep.
Apparently the rumor is that they are being inducted into the 2025 WWE Hall of Fame class.
Nice.
So out of the three that we have right now, Triple H, Michelle McCool, and Lex Luger, who are you most excited to hear from as far as speeches?
Probably Triple H, honestly.
Okay.
Because I'm very curious to see what he's going to say or how it's going to be presented. Because ever since really taking up the role, COO, he's kind of become, I guess, more kind of reserved. Like he doesn't really want to take, all the glory and be like, oh yeah, I'm this, mastermind behind everything that's going on with WWE and things of that nature. He primarily wants the focus to be on the competitors in the ring, the ones that are, going out there and giving it their all every single night. So it's gonna be very interesting to really see him, or just see really a different side of him come out just with his particular speech or whatever. So I'm very curious to see what he would have to say and to get a different side of Triple H, not just Triple H, but Paul Levesque himself. So.
Well, he is joining the likes of Booker T, Ric Flair, and Shawn Michaels as becoming a two-time WWE Hall of Famer. He was inducted in 2021 with DX. So now he is going to be in on his own. I'm excited to see Triple H's speech because now it's on his own. He's not going to be doing the whole funny thing with DX, the whole taking shots at AEW, calling it a pissant company and all that stuff. We're not getting the funny factor. We're going to get the more serious cerebral assassin, the game Triple H. But at the same time, I think we're still going to get the same that we got from The Undertaker. The Undertaker, he came out, played the gimmick, and then he got into, he's no longer The Undertaker, he's Mark. So I could see us getting Triple H, doing what The Undertaker did and being gimmick, but then go in and being, Paul Levesque. So, but I'm kind of excited to I'm kind of interested. I don't want to say excited. I'm going to say interested into Lex Luger's because it's been a long time coming for number one for Lex Luger. And it's not a secret of his history and, personal and everything like that. It's not a secret. And there's some fans out there that don't want to see this because they don't feel like he deserves it because of personal aspects. Okay, we're not going to say what the personal aspects are. If you're a wrestling fan, you know what they are. Bottom line. But again, with this Hall of Fame, it's about what they did in the ring. It's about what they did in their career. And some would compare it to the borderline of, Chris Benoit. Would you call him a Hall of Famer? Yeah, because of what he did in the ring, what he did in the company. We all know his the personal stuff and why it would never happen. Because the people would be too focused on the personal aspect, along with not focusing too much on the in-ring stuff, But I'm interested to see Lex Luger's speech. I am. He's probably, out of all of them, probably the one I'm going to be more focused on, just to hear what he has to say. And the fans' reactions. Because sadly enough, I shouldn't say sadly enough. There's probably going to be mixed. It's probably going to be mixed. And that's that. But as an athlete, as a competitor, as somebody that worked in the ring and in the business for as long as he did and the gimmicks we got from him, I'm just interested to hear what he has to say. I am. But Triple H's, I'm excited for. Michelle McCool's, I'm excited for. Michelle McCool definitely deserves this. She had one hell of a career. She did. So I'm excited to hear Triple H and Michelle McCool interested in Lex Luger's and kind of curious on the natural disasters. Just because they're one of those tag teams, if you've watched their career in WWE, they've had a pretty interesting career. They have. But I wanted to ask you this, and this is kind of get on the funny side of things. Did you watch the natural disasters when you were younger?
I think I've seen like maybe one match from them.
Okay.
I'm more familiar with Earthquake than anything else.
So as a kid, did you ever do the whole like stomp around thing that he used to do?
No.
I did. I used to do it. Funny story is you know how as a kid, you know, you wrestle on the bed with like your pillow buddies and stuff like that, and you have the toy belts. I mean, I still have some of the toy belts, but I broke one of my beds doing the stomp thing.
Jesus.
I did. And I pissed my parents off so bad because I didn't necessarily break the frame or like the box spring or anything, but there's like boards that kind of help it stay even and it doesn't fall through. And I broke one of the boards. It was like a 4x4 like board thing that held the box spring up. And my parents were like, "What the fuck did you do? You broke your bed." And here I just broke a board that was easily replaced. So yeah, did that. I did that. I did. I wasn't, and it was before my time of becoming a bigger kid. It was like I was slightly smaller and, you know, whatever. But last thing, Cam, before we close things out here on this day. I told you we have a fun on this day segment. First off, notable wrestling birthdays for today. Brody King, AEW wrestler. His birthday today, along with Samoa Joe. You remember Test? It's his birthday today. Rest in peace, Test. And the owner of the National Wrestling Alliance, Billy Corgan. It is his birthday. Lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins. It is their birthdays today. So, Cam, on this day segment is a fun one. This should open up a little bit of a conversation between us and hopefully the chat. On this day, back in 2002, WrestleMania 18 took place in front of 68,237 fans at the Sky Dome in Toronto, Canada. The main event of the show saw Triple H defeat Chris Jericho to win the WWE Undisputed Championship. However, this match was completely overshadowed by the semi-main event match between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Hollywood Hulk Hogan that saw the fans in Toronto completely embrace the heel Hogan, resulting in a face turn at the end of the match, which has gone down as one of the most iconic WrestleMania moments of all time. Also on the event, The Undertaker became the first man to notch 10 WrestleMania victories with a win over Ric Flair, and Rob Van Dam defeated William Regal in the opening match for the Intercontinental Championship. Of note, this was the last WrestleMania to take place under the WWF branding. The company changed their name to WWE later that year. So that's true because WrestleMania was in March of that year. But then in May, they changed to WWE. But WrestleMania 18 taking place out in Canada. The one thing I want to talk about is Hogan Rock. Now, as it stated that Hogan and Rock was the semi-main event. Now we've seen, The Rock end up picking the win up over Hogan. And then at the end of the match, the NWO, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall came out. The build-up to this match was fairly decent. Not a bad build-up. But they came out and they gave Hogan shit. They were like, how could you not beat The Rock? Because earlier in the night, Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated Scott Hall in a match. So the NWO completely unsuccessful at WrestleMania 18. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall not liking it. They attack Hogan. The Rock comes back, helps Hogan. Thus, we go back to the red and yellow in WWE about a week or two later on SmackDown. But number one, Cam, your thoughts on this match and what you thought. Did you get to see this match live?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Did you ever watch this match?
Yeah, I watched highlights of it.
Okay.
But I know enough of it. I know enough about it. But no, this is honestly one of those matches that people still talk about to this day. And again, like I said, this is just another one of those matches that really put WrestleMania on the map as being just their show of shows, essentially. And like I said, I heard Hogan and Rock talk about this match in full length, and they didn't change the finish, but they had to slightly alter their characters basically mid-match because, like I said, they were just embracing Hulk Hogan over The Rock. They started booing The Rock, and they were cheering Hulk Hogan. So it's one of those things where, like I said, and I can't remember who I heard say this, but you know, they were talking about this match, and they said, you know, they didn't care that Hogan was Hollywood Hogan at that time. They
No.
just were so excited to see him back after being gone for so long. They just wanted Hulk Hogan back.
Yeah.
And so that's what it was. So it was not so much that they hated or despised Rock with him being the babyface in his match. They just liked Hogan that much more. So very special moment, and it's like I said, it's one of those matches that still to this day is being talked about as just, you know, just what a moment it was for two massive WWE superstars to go one-on-one at Mania.
So Cam, you know me, I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts throughout the day while I'm at work, even when I'm at home here. If I don't want to watch anything, or I want to take a break from playing video games and I'm not doing any work for any podcast, you know, like for the Table Spot or for the Boom or for the Huddle Hub, I'm kind of just chilling out and I'll throw on a wrestling podcast and I'll listen to it. And I came across a interview, and in this said interview, the person that was being interviewed recommended to go watch this match without sound. Okay. Now, when you watch this match with sound, and Cam, if you have time, try this. I highly recommend doing this. And I want to see in the next coming weeks. I'm not saying like do this today or anything like that, but when you have a chance, do this. And I'm not saying watch the match 2 separate times. If you want to do that, that's all on you. But at least for part of the match, turn the sound off. And this match, as said in this interview, was complete shit. The thing that made the match was the fans, the arena, the stadium. So I came home from work because I heard this interview while I was at work. I was listening to the podcast and I heard this and I was like, you know what? When I go home, I'm going to try this. So I came home, I threw the match on and I watched it with sound. And I figured that's only a 20-minute match. You know, I'll spend the next hour concentrating on this. Rewound it, turn the sound off. This person was completely right. This match was complete shit. You turn that sound off, the fans made the match. That stadium made the match. It did. I highly recommend trying this. And when you have time and you do this, let me know. And I want to see if you have the same viewpoint that I do. Because I agree. It was complete shit without the fans, without the sound. The ending was exciting. The ending and everything that happened post-match, exciting. The fans didn't have to make that. The entertainers, the wrestlers, The Rock, the NWO made that. But the match itself, the whole thing, was just holy shit. How it overshadowed the main event, I don't know. Because it was not that good. Now, were there other matches on this night that I could see overshadow in the main event? Maybe Ric Flair and The Undertaker, because that was a really good match. I wish The Undertaker would have been Dead Man Taker at that time. He was Biker Taker at that moment. You know, so I kind of wish The Undertaker was Dead Man, because we could have got the Dead Man against Ric Flair, and that would have been great. But also, Ric Flair at that time was in his moment to where he didn't have his confidence and stuff. He was losing his confidence, all that stuff. So we didn't get the best Ric Flair either, but it was still a good match. It was. So if I had to pick a match that would have overshadowed the main event, it definitely was The Undertaker and Ric Flair opposed to Hogan and Rock. And that's just my opinion. So when you have time, try it. I want to see if you have the same viewpoint as I do. But that's it for the On This Day. I mean, Cam, we've been live a combined 3.5 hours between the watch along and between the tables, about 3.5 hours. And I'm going to say this right now, dude. I'm ready to get the hell out of here and chill out for the rest of the night. I don't know about you, but I am. So let's do it. Before I throw up our socials, remind everybody one more time, Rivet City Radio Off the Top Media's Twitch and YouTube channels. Make sure you're going to follow, subscribe, and turn your notifications on to check out all the great content going on throughout the network throughout the week. The back catalog that's on the YouTube channels, interviews that are done by the Will Gray, and Spotlight with Shadow. And just past episodes of shows like The Boom that's coming every Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite, with Cam leading the charge over there, with me and Phil co-hosting with them. The Table Spot here on Mondays, normally after Monday Night Raw, but the next couple weeks we will be here a little early, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week and the following week for the watch along, followed by the Table Spot like we did today. With that being said, Cam, your socials are on the bottom. What do you want to let the people know?
Like I said, just I appreciate you guys coming out, checking the stream tonight. Again, we will be back next week with another watch along. Again, like I said, special start time 4 p.m. and of course table spot right after that. And of course, we will be live once again with the addition of Phil right here on River City Radio with another episode of The Boom after AEW Dynamite, of course, as normal start time on Wednesday. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
All right, so make sure you're checking out everything that Cam is doing, not only on his personal socials, which are right below here. Check out everything he's doing, but also on the network here on the Table Spot and on The Boom. My socials are on the bottom: Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitch, Xbox, Metal Mike 714. Now, like Cam said, you can catch us here after Monday night. Well, here for the Monday Night Raw watch-alongs, and then after that, the Table Spot. But then every Wednesday night for the Boom after AEW Dynamite with the addition of Phil. But you can also catch me on the new podcast, The Huddle Hub Podcast, over on twitch.tv/The Huddle Hub Podcast and youtube.com/The Huddle Hub Podcast. We also got 2 other forms of social media on TikTok and X at The Huddle Hub Pod. It is a football podcast done by myself and the Candyman Johnny H. Every Sunday morning, we go live at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We had our debut show this past yesterday. Went great. It was a great show, and we are looking forward to the future with the Huddle Hub Podcast. We got a great show planned for you guys on Sunday, so please come check out the Huddle Hub Podcast every Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on the Huddle Hub Podcast Twitch and Off the Top Media's YouTube channel through the year of 2025. Other than that, Cam, you ready? Ready to get out of here?
I'm ready.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for checking us out for the watch along and here on the Table Spot. Appreciate everybody who stopped by for the live. If you're not joining us for the live, thank you for watching us for the replay. As I always say, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Until next time, deuces, everybody.